Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Trina. Today's video is going to be my mid-year book freakout tag as well as my mid-year stats for my reading journey for 2025. This is the first year that I'm going to do this book tag because last year was when I actually started posting books on YouTube, and I think I started it around August time. So we're going to do this for the first time in this channel, and I'm pretty excited because there are a couple of good and bad, I guess. The whole tag is basically showing the best and the worst of 2025 so far. And I got my prompts from Becca Books and Bujo. She's the one that I often watch when it comes to monthly stats, wrap ups, and such, and I really enjoy her videos. So I got those like questions from her. I believe there are 13 questions here. So I'm going to go through and we're going to chat about these 13 questions. And then afterwards, I'm going to show you my stats for the middle of the year as well as a check-in of all of the goals that I set out for myself since the beginning of 2025. So we're going to get right into it. So first we have here is best book of 2025 so far. I do have an extra sort of star rating when it comes to reading books. I have what we call a 6-star. So 6-star for me, I consider 6-star as if people ask me what is my favorite book, or if I have a book that I would recommend to people, this is going to be the short list that I am going to like remember and pull out, I guess. And the only 6-star book that I have for 2025 so far is Strange Pictures by Oketsu. This is a Japanese translated book, and it's a collection of short stories told alongside childlike doodles and drawings that are, if I'm being honest, are quite creepy, and they tell a whole interconnecting story. It is sort of murder mystery in a sense as well, and as you progress with each of the story, there is a whole nother sort of mystery and drama behind each and every story, like a very much a umbrella story, I guess, to the mystery of all of it. And it really what I call this, I was very much unnerved and creeped out with some of them, and others it's just genius basically, and I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend it. So that's my best book of 2025 so far. Next, we have here the best sequel you have read in 2025. So two of them that I have listed here are duologies, parts of duologies, and the other one is part of a series. The first one here I have is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the second book in the Shepherd King series. I really enjoyed One Dark Window. We are following the story of Elspeth, and the magic system in her world is basically connected to like these cards, and whenever there is like magic and they are like what do you call that, like instead of like wands and such or grimoires, the magical item that releases their powers are cards. I'm always all for it, and I really enjoyed the series. This has been like a very quick read for me, if I'm being honest. I really like the first book compared to the second book, but still the conclusion to it was okay for me. I really enjoyed this duology. The second duology is Our Dark Duet. This is the second and also the final book, I guess, because it's a duology of the Monsters of Verity series by V.E. Schwab. This is more of like a musical monster-ish sort of story. We are following two characters that live in like separate factions, separate cities, or like the separate, what do you call this, boundaries in the city of Verity. One faction believes that the monsters should be killed off in order to protect their people, and the other faction believes that you could utilize and control monsters, and the people have to pay like their mayor of some sort in order to protect them from the monsters under their own control. So those are like the two factions, and our characters are like, the one is the son of the peaceful kill off the monsters faction, and the other one is the daughter of the pay me to protect you faction. And I really enjoyed it. It's related to music, and all of the monsters, the origins of monsters is basically the darkness that humans have. They are the manifestations of the darkness of humans, and really enjoyed it. And the last one for best sequel is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Moore, the second book in the Locked Tomb series. I love Gideon the Ninth, but of course I can't say that because I need to um, put down here best sequel. So I'm choosing Harrow the Ninth because I guess Harrow the Ninth is like more action packed compared to, not necessarily. I think Gideon the Ninth is also action packed, but more so I guess Harrow the Ninth, and like a lot of lore drops, a lot of mystery. I guess I need to talk about the series as well. They are like necromancers and their cavaliers in Gideon the Ninth. The Harrow has to like go through these trials in order to become a lector, which is her dream and her what do you call this? Her calling, I guess, as a necromancer. And then in the sequel, she has like there are a lot of information dropped upon her of how the workings of their world happens to be, and all of like the lore, and also serving the, I forgot what's the term, um emperor. Oh my god, I forgot the term. Like they're god of some sort. So that's, I find that Harrow the Night is very much enjoyable. As for Nona the Ninth, I just finished it yesterday, and it's not as action packed as Harrow the Ninth. So I like the second book compared to the third book, if I'm being honest. Anyway, moving on. A new release you haven't read yet but want to read. It is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V. Schwab. This is part of my five-star prediction for the year. And it is a sapphic love story. We are following three women from three different eras and three different parts of the world, and how people like treat them based on the choices that they made and the people that they decide to love. And I enjoyed Adi LaRue, but not that much. Hopefully, this one I would love more, I guess. Not sure, but I'm looking forward to reading this. The next one that we have here is your your most anticipated release that has not yet come out. So I had to look through like the lists because I'm not really up to date when it comes to new releases. I just read books as I find them, and I'm not necessarily and I want to look around and see when new releases happen. But out of all of the lists that I have read through, I found two that I'm very much interested in. One is The Dead Husband Cookbook by Danielle Valentine, and it is set to release August 5th of this year. This is about a cooking couple, a chef couple, I guess. The wife is like has a lot of cookbooks, is in TV, a very well-known chef in media, and she is like hiring a certain fan of hers to write her memoir. And that part, like there is a part in her memoir about her chef husband who has disappeared, who is also very much famous, but somehow was wiped out in the face of the earth, don't know where he is. And this time in her memoir, she's going to break her silence, something like that. And for me, I love mystery and I also love cooking. I love anything food related, and I'm excited. It sounds interesting. And the second one here is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I love Divine Rivals, not so much Ruthless Vows, but still, if it's a romance that Rebecca Ross writes, I think I'm interested in, or like I am intrigued enough to pick it up. This book is set on September 2nd of this year. It is a romance between a messenger goddess and the boy who dreamt about her and wrote a letter to her. And based on the synopsis, the boy wrote a letter to this goddess and did not receive a reply. So somehow he grew up, moved on, forgot about her, and became pretty much a hardened lord of the river. And also, I guess the messenger goddess, her realm is at war, and I really enjoy, I guess, when it comes to like they're similar to Divine Rivals. I guess there is also this war between the two, god and goddess, that has like history with each other. And so Rebecca Ross is at it again with a goddess during wartime, and this time it's a romance between the goddess and the mortal that dreamt about her. And yeah, that's the two. Those are the two rather books that I am looking forward to reading. The next one is biggest disappointment of the year so far. I have two actually that I have here because these two are very popular books. A lot of fan base around these two books, but somehow I am not into reading these two. The first one being The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. First book in the Natural series. Heard so much good things about it, but knowing that one, it is YA, and two, I did not enjoy inheritance games. So maybe that is was like a sign that I know that I won't really enjoy the naturals all that much as well. This Jennifer Lynn Barnes, I guess, is just not for me. So that's one disappointment. The second one is Three Body Problem by Sisson Liu and Ken Liu. Sci-fi, um, apocalyptic. I forgot. All I know is like sci-fi, political, and those are like the genres that I really enjoy. However, I just couldn't get myself to. Um, I just couldn't get myself to love this book throughout me listening to the audiobook, which is the only format that I guess I was able to consume this book, because if I read this, I would have put this down in DNF that long ago. So audiobook was my way to go. However, I still did not enjoy it as much, so I did not continue with this series. The next one here is The Biggest Surprise. I only wrote down one here because I don't think I have anything here that is surprising for me, but I did wrote down here The Husband by Holly Gramazio. I, I'm fine with like domestic thrillers sort of books, contemporary fiction, and they are not necessarily like 5-star books for me. And The Husband is actually a 4-star. But this is like the only thing, or like the only book that I can find that fits this prompt. This is about our main character who went home and found out that she has a husband. And every time the husband goes up the attic, out comes or comes down another guy who is different but still knows her as being their wife. So she has like a roulette or like a gotcha of a attic, and every time the guy goes up, goes down, it's a different guy. So basically, she is running through all these different husbands, finding out which of them she's willing to keep until the very end. And yeah, it's quite an interesting concept. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, biggest surprise maybe 4 stars. Next here is who is your new favorite author from the books you've read in 2025? Honestly, Becky Chambers and Celeste Nang or Celeste Ng. Becky Chambers, I read A Sam for the Wild Build, which I really loved. Therefore, I'm going to look for other books by Becky Chambers if I want to have like sort of feel good or a literary fiction or like a fantasy. What is her main genre? Like it's like a moving fantasy, I guess. That I am wanting to have the feels, I guess. And for Celeste Nang or Celeste Ng, I enjoy her writing style. I read Little Fires Everywhere, and I felt that it was super easy to read through or listen to even in audiobook. So I'm going to look for more titles by them. Next we have here is kind of a weird one, at least for me. For others, I guess if you read more romance books, I guess this is a perfect question or a prompt. It's the newest fictional crush. Now, if you don't know me, or if this is your first video from me, I read a lot of horror and creepy books. How will I get a fictional crush from those? So that's a big question mark. I don't really consider, I haven't read manga at all actually so far in 2025. So I don't think I should consider that. But the only person or character that I wrote down in here is Roman Ket from Divine Rivals. I don't know. I could have considered Cassian as from Akotar because he's like one of my favorites from the Akotar series, but I don't know, not really that much, but it's fine. The next one here, we're just going to move on from that. Newest favorite character. The two characters that I wrote here is Harrowhark Nonagesimus from Loxum series, and the second one is Moscap the robot from Some of the Wild Bill. These two characters, I really enjoy following their train of thought, conversations, their voice. Basically, I feel like they are very much well written, or written in a way that suits their personality and suits their movements and their role in each of their stories. And yeah, they're my favorite for the year so far. Next is book that made you cry. There's only one, and I don't really gravitate towards cry sort of books nor romance books, but I did do a reading cat books for Cat Day sort of vlog. And one of them is the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. Really cried in that book. And to be honest, I don't really want to watch the live action of this because I know that there's a live action movie for this book, and I'm going to cry again if I'm going to watch that. So I might not do that, but highly recommend that book. Next one here, we only have three left. Book that made me happy. Now, I've said I read a lot of horror, and I read a lot of horror, fantasy, thriller books, creepy books, psychological horror, medical horror. So not a lot that's going to make me happy. But I read Nettle and Bone by T. Fisher, and I think this is the book that made me smile in the end. Actually, it is about a princess, an older princess, who goes around on an adventure in order to save her older sister from the clutches of an evil king. She believes that the king has harmed their eldest sister, and now that the eldest sister has passed away, the king married the second sister, and she believes that there is something suspicious with the king, so she's going to do all that she can to save her second sister. And yeah, there's a little bit of a subplot romance, a lot of adventure, very lovable character, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this book very much. Next here is the most beautiful book I bought this year so far, and I thrift a lot of books, so there's not a lot of books that I find that is very pretty, especially with mass market paperbacks with like generic clip arts or like a picture of a house, basically, because I read a lot of mystery thrillers and police detective thrillers. When it comes to mass market paperbacks, I read a lot in ebook or audiobook formats, and not a lot of physical books has been bought this year that are pretty. I need to specify that because I like purchase a lot of books, but none of them are like to the point of pretty. I did pull out two books though that I did purchase this year, and I guess these are the prettiest ones that I could find. One being The Phantom of the Opera. I pulled this one out because it does have the red foiling for the title, but if I were to choose, I wish that the mask was a little bit lighter color, or like maybe this part is a little bit lighter color because it blends with the background that much. This is Timeless Books, and I pulled this out because I really appreciate that there is a ribbon bookmark for this book. Haven't read this yet. We'll get around to it like maybe closer to October. Who knows? I might pull this out in one of like my TBR games in the future. But yeah, this is one of the books that I really need to read for this year. And the second one I purchased last February. It is The Dark Vault, which is the Unlock the Archive series by V.E. Schwab. And this is a hefty, very heavy book. And I pulled this out because I love the color. This is like one of my favorite shades of like teal green, green, dark green combination. I really love this color, and I think it's pretty. So this is a hefty book because it is both. This is two books, right? Yeah, two novels with a bonus short story. So basically, this is the whole Unlock the Archive duology plus the novella. That's why it's very heavy, and I'm hoping I'm able to get around to this. I really love the inside though. It's very like readable. Really love this. I'm so glad that I got this, even though like the cover's a little bit dinged. I got this on sale when we went to our family trip back in February, and yeah, I don't know why that there's like darker pages. What is this? Is this like the? I guess this is how they divide it. Not a lot of decorations, but it's like you can see that there is like darker parts of the book. at the bottom. So I guess that is how they divide the whole book. So this is like the first, and then this is the second book. Yeah, those are the two that I find that probably are the prettiest in my physical book collection. And then we have our last prompt or question here. Books that you need to read at the end by the end of the year. So there are a lot of books, but I do have a more definite list. So I have my 5-star predictions, which, if I'm being honest, I don't know if it's going up before or after this, but I have five from that list. On the top of my head, I guess it's Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I have Bury Your Gaze. I have Remarkably Bright Creatures. What are the other two? I forget. What are the other two? I know that I have five from that list. Oh, The Women by Kristen Hanna, as well as oh, The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. So those are the five that I have from my 5-star predictions. And then going into my reading journal here, I have this page, which is 26 books I need to read before 2026. And the ones that I need to read that are left in this list is The Tainted Cup, Lovely War, Don't Let a Forest In, The Thousand Floor, Indian Burial Ground, Horror Store. I also have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil here, so I have both in two lists. Imaginary Friend, and The Ministry of Time. So those are the books that I have in my priority list for the rest of the year, and it's quite exciting. Quite thick books though. So excited for the books, not excited for how thick they are. So anyway, we are going to proceed with my mid-year stats and favorites. I decided that writing things down in my notebook is easier for me rather than making graphics. So I'm just going to read through the stats that you see here. For pages per month, I did read a lot, I guess, for the 6 months of the year, totaling to 12,784 pages, which is amazing if I'm being honest. And the lowest, I guess, is for the month of June. I only read 7 books in the month of June. So yeah, next category is books per month. I have been consistently reading 15 books for 3 of the months, and for the rest, lackluster. But still, it's a lot still. For other people, this is a lot. For me, it's okay because I have a goal to read 100 books for the year. And as you can see, my total so far is 75 books, which I will go over that because in July, I have a reading challenge for myself that will make me read a lot of books. So I'm going to go over my 100 goals for the year probably. So I'm going to have to look for like a specific number for my stretch goal for the rest of the year. So the next category is audio hours per month. A lot of audiobook hours, totaling to 328 hours and 47 minutes. I have not translated that to days, but I am curious of how many days it would be for that. So 328 divided by 24, that is basically 13 days or above 13 days of audiobook hours read or listened to in the beginning 6 months of the year. So yeah, the longest or like the most that I have listened to is in the month of April, which makes sense. I think in the month of April I did listen to a lot of like Avatar question mark, or like I actually forgot why there are a lot of audiobooks for the month of April. But anyway, moving on, we have our books per star rating. So I just compiled it like from 1 star to 1.75, 2 star to 2.75, and so on. So for 1 to 1.75 stars, happily say that I don't have any books that I've rated lower than a 2 star, which is good. However, 2 to 2.75 stars, I've rated 12 books that low. For 3 stars to 3.75, 33 books, which is my average, I guess. 4 to 4.75, I rated 20 books that star rating. 9 5-star book and 1 6-star book, which I mentioned earlier in this video. So my average rating is around 3.5 stars, which is decent. It's high, if I'm being honest. I've read a lot of lackluster books last year because I did like a challenge wherein I read books that are rated like a below 3 star in last year, and I have a lot of books there that I rated like 1 star or like below 2 stars. So this is a high average for me, which is good. I wish that by the end of the year it will be higher, if I'm being honest. But anyway, next year, shortest book based on page number is Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. It's 136 pages. And the longest book that I read is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, which has 602 pages. Shortest audiobook is The Shunned House by H.P. Lovecraft, an hour and 15 minutes. And the longest audiobook was Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson with 25 hours and 16 minutes of audiobook. I love the book, by the way. I'm really excited to read the second part, the Ascension. And then next we have here is the lowest rated book. I gave 3 books 2 stars. So this is like the lowest that I gave. So one is Prankster, which is the 12th book in the Fazbear Fright series by Scott Cawthon. I really did not enjoy the stories of that. It's like kind of repetitive and kind of lackluster compared to the other books that are more interesting. The other one is The Night of the Mannequins. Oh, I did 4, by the way, not 3. I did not see this. Stephen Graham Jones, Night of the Mannequins, and I really did not enjoy it. Earth Eater by Dolores Reyes. I was disappointed with this book because it has a very good premise. However, the follow through or the execution was not good. And then next here, or the last one, is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. Sad that a lot of people actually enjoy this. Sadly, I did not. It is what it is. A lot of people have recommended this book if you're like a horror literary fiction lover, but it did not work for me. Now we proceed to the next page, which is my 5-star favorites. So I have a couple here of 5 stars. Penance by Kanaya Minato, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. These are like obvious 5-star books. If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. I have here The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, Some for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, my 6-star and only 6-star book for the year so far, Strange Pictures by Okatsu, The Appeal by Janice Halyat, and then Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Moore. Special mentions, I really wanted to put special mentions here. So we have the Kamogawa Food Detectives by Hisashi Kashiwai, as well as the second book in the series, The Restaurant of Lost Recipes. I gave them 3 and 3.5 stars respectively. And the next one is Will Prescribe You a Cat by Shio Ishida, which I gave 4 stars. Basically, all with titles of cats were read at the same week or in the same week for Cat Day, for my Cat Day vlog. Next is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This was, I should have put this in like from the freak out tag, the ones that I am surprised that I enjoy. I don't know why I like Lord of the Flies. Granted that it's like a classic, but I did enjoy it. Next is Secret History by Donna Tartt, of 4.75 stars. Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, 3.5 stars. Seek Yehor and Other Stories by Yvette Tan, 4 stars. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Nang, 4 stars. Some Kind of Happiness by Claire Legrand, 4 stars. And The Husbands by Oli Gramazio, 4 stars. So basically this page, you can screenshot it. This is basically all of my recommended reads for this year so far. And this is like, if you ask me if I have any books that I would recommend to you from my reading list for this year or from this year, this is the list. Screenshot it if you want. And then the last part here is my goals check-in. So I just wrote down here the 4 goals that I set for myself. I have here read 100 books, so check in 75 books out of the 100. Read 20 books that are outside of my comfort zone. So basically they are nonfiction or romance books. I have 4 out of the 20. So I Planet Barbarians, Secret History, Tailspin, and A Court of Silver Flames. So most of them are spicy. So those are out of my comfort zone. The third one here is to read 10 translated books. And I have completed this. Read a lot of Japanese translated books. I should put in here a stretch goal wherein I read books that are not Japanese translated. So the only translated book that is not Japanese in this list of 10 is The Secret History, and I believe it's like originally French. So yeah, that's interesting. And the last here is complete 5 series. I'm going to do a stretch goal for this and make it like 10 more series because I have started a lot of series this year. And if not complete, I will try to be updated with like the most recently published, like the latest published book of the series if the series is not completed. So that's like my stretch goal. But for the 5 series that I've completed: Shepherd King series, which is One Dark Window; Cassidy Blake series by V. Schwab, which is her YA; Monsters of Verity, also by V. Schwab. That was the duology that I talked about earlier. The first one is The Savage Song, second one Art of Duet, Letters of Enchantment, Divine Rivals, and then Avatar. I finished the last book this year. Going a little off script here, but I do want to like mention all of my DNFs that I have for the year so far. Like this is the short list of it, but I do have another part here that I did not list down. But anyway, I'm just going to run through with this. Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros. I technically did not enjoy the first two, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I guess Fourth Wing was better. Iron Flame was meh. And I did start listening to the audiobook of Onyx Storm. However, as soon as I heard that this is no longer a trilogy, but rather 5 books in a series, I was like, nah, I did not enjoy the 2 books. Should I suffer more 3 books down the line and wait for it? Like, never mind. I'm going to just stop it. The other one is As Good as Dead. This Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm so sad. I did not enjoy the second book. I'm okay with the first one. Like, technically, it's kind of is it YA mystery? I did not enjoy the second one, and the third one just really irritated me. So I decided to just DNF and not continue with the series. The next one is The Bad Ones. I have been putting this book off for quite a bit, and then when I decided I will try a chapter, because I've been putting it off, like moving it from TBR to TBR, and when I read the first chapter, did not really enjoy what I was reading, so I decided to just DNF it. And then the last one, at least for the month of June, is Mountain Refuge. It's a bodyguard trope wherein the female main character is being stalked, or not stalked, but she survived. She was supposed to be the latest victim of a serial killer, and she survived, and she lived and maybe is able to identify the serial killer, so she is being hunted by the serial killer. So a retired bodyguard, or not bodyguard, police officer, the brother asked this officer, her brother is also an officer, but he asked the officer if he could like be the bodyguard of his sister while he is on duty, something like that. It was fine, but I was not really interested in romance at this point, so I decided to just DNF the book. I believe I have 1 or 2 more DNFs. I need to look for it first. Never mind, it's 3 more. So the other 3 that I have DNF, The Familiar by Lee Bardugo. This is actually quite sad for me because I really want to try Lee Bardugo's writing style. However, I just don't find that I get like I vibe with the writing style. To me, it's very boring and very dry. So I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. The next one is The Best Minds. This one is a nonfiction, and he's writing about his friend who became a serial killer, and he is writing about their childhood, their friendship, and that was there a sign when he was actually like that? Was there like any sign that he was doing that behind his back, something like that? And he did not know until like when news broke out, something like that. And then Funeral Songs for Dying Girls. I have read one of the comments or reviews for this book wherein they said that it gets better at like the very end of the book. It starts out super rough, very unlikable characters, and then at the end it's like okay. So I was like, if it's just okay, I don't want to suffer through like maybe 70% of the book in order to only have an okay reading experience or like an okay conclusion to the story, when 70% of the time I am raging, ranting, and being very frustrated with the characters. So I decided to just DNF. So was that 8 books DNF this year? Oh, 7. So it's 7 books DNF. I soft DNF these 2. I'm still interested in reading those 2, but I just not now. I am mood reading, so just not now. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed. I'm just um I'm just surprised with how the year has been going. Of course, this is like my first full year of reading. Was it my first full year, or like now I keep forgetting when I actually really started reading and posting book related content here on YouTube. But I'll say that this is like my first year that I'm really happy with my reading, and I'm able to like also allow myself to DNF books if I'm not enjoying them anymore. And it's freeing. There's a lot of books out there that I know that I will enjoy. So why do I like force myself to suffer through these books that I don't enjoy? Get what I mean? So yeah, that is my mid-year stats and also the book freak out tag. This is the first year that I'm doing that, and I hopefully am able to do this every year now moving forward. We'll see. It's so far away, but I'm hopeful that I'm able to do that. And yeah, that is everything. I'm finished with this reading journal. I'm going to move on with my second reading journal for the year tomorrow. Very excited. And I hope you look forward to more videos and more content from me, book related content. That's it. Thank you again. And I will see you in the next video. So until then, guys, take care and bye.